And thank you all for joining me. I'm just getting things all set up here. I've got a really fun technique to share today. It's very easy to duplicate, so easy that we will make 2 cards. Isn't that exciting? I think I've gotten everything set up here. So we will get started. The first thing I have for you is to share some happy mail. And this is special happy mail because it's from my sister. And that always makes things better. This is a card that has a lot of sparkle. I know there's a glare with the window. In order to get the light in, I use an open window. And that sometimes when I have face-to-face, hi Sharon, it kind of distorts some colors coming in this direction, but when we go face down, it'll be fine. It'll equalize itself out. This is a very, very shiny card, and I don't know if you can see all the subtleties there. When I hold it like this, you can see the subtleties. It's wonderful. She did such a good job. Thank you, Joe. Hello, Pam. How are you? Thank you all for stopping with me. If you would share this video, I would greatly appreciate it. And I've got some projects to share with you too. I promised last week that I would share some artwork from the kids, and I remembered to bring it up for you today. So that's exciting. So the first one that I have here, and I've got a couple, is from Nathaniel, and I have to show it this way first just so that you can see exactly how big these little pom-poms are. If you can see how high they're sticking up off the page, he has started creating an alphabet with his, I guess I'm not sure if it's in his classroom or with one of his, what do you want to call it? A therapist. It might have been with his therapist. But we have loads of texture here. These teachers are so amazing, guys. I have such admiration for teachers. So here's a close-up look, and it looks like this is pipe cleaners and gigantic pom-poms. Look how big they are. They're so large. They're just amazing, which is great for a kindergartner to be able to grab their hand and use it. It's just so cute. So that's the letter C, and we got the letter A, and I love this one. Here's the letter A. Isn't that amazing? It's all circles, triangles, and squares. Now, we didn't get the letter B, and I'm going to have to write a note to the teacher to ask, hey, where's letter B? Did we skip B? Or maybe it's posted inside the classroom, but here's a picture turned sideways, and I just absolutely adore this. And we always talk about how this alligator's got ouch, ouch, you know, sharp teeth, you know, we say ouch. So it's the coolest. So cool. And we don't want to leave out Trip. Now remember, Trip is in 2nd grade. He's 7 years old, so he's a little bit more advanced with what his skills are. But, you know, they both have their strengths. So this is something that Trip colored all on his own. Coloring in the lines is very hard for him. And coloring in, like holding a crayon, is very hard for him also. So the fact that he was able to get this far, I thought was amazing. Now, I don't think he colored this in because you can compare it to the rest of the stuff and see. But it's kind of like that. Good morning, Marcy. How are you? Our friend Marcy has a special stamp-iversary, so if anybody would like to wish Marcy happy anniversary on being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, then she's right here with us. So happy stamp-iversary to you. We have some new products to to share today, and this is the Snow is Glistening and the Happiness Surrounds sets. We had a look at them last week, and I'll give you a closer look up of the pictures. But for now, these are some really, I have to turn them sideways to keep the glare off of them. These are some beautiful, absolutely stunning stamp sets. And we're going to use this today, and look at the dies. Oh my goodness, there's so many dies, so many of them. So we are going to get started. Oh, I also have to share something. Now, if there's any of my team members that are here on the video with me, then I don't want to completely spoil everything that you're going to be spoiled with at Onstage, because Onstage is coming up in a matter of just a few weeks. But something I created, I wanted us to have something that would go, we always wear a lanyard with our name, and there's some ribbons that hang underneath it as well for each person that's attending Onstage, and you have to be a demonstrator. And this is like a big giant family reunion of cousins is the best way that I know how to describe it. I absolutely love the Onstage experience, and being with my team and getting to spend time together, because my team is spread all across America from literally one coast to the next coast. I've got team members that are in the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast, and I have more that are spread all the way down the East Coast, and then all the way over to the other coast, to the Pacific Ocean, to the state of Oregon. So we're all over the place and everywhere in between as well. So I created these little, I'll get a little closer so you can see it, but it's a little badge. If I turn it sideways, that's when the glare doesn't show so much on it. Maybe I'll try it like this. And then I'll show you again when I flip the camera. But these little badges here, it has our team name, and our team name is We Create. So it says We Create Team. And how I made these is I printed out on my printer the little graphic for our team, and then I got these little badge covers. Here's what the back side of it looks like. Not sure if you can see it so well. When I flip the camera, you'll be able to see it better. But it's like a DIY badge that I bought online, and so I cut out the piece of paper with a circle, with a layering circle framelit, and I kind of just pressed it into the front piece, made sure that it was flush all the way, and then the back piece clicks in. So this is a really fun way, and then we can decorate it with our own Stampin' Up ribbon. We can put, make it into a fancy flowery badge. There's all sorts of things that we can make with this. If you're on my team, then yes, you're going to be getting one of these. So when we get to Onstage, I'll bring them with me in my luggage. So my luggage is going to be filled up with goodies for my team members. So we've got some of these that are happening, and I'll make sure that you get a good look. It's like a very light blue background, and then it's a pink, kind of almost like a peace rose. That's my favorite rose, is the peace rose. Well, as far as colors go. And let's see what else I have to share with you. I think we can get to our project. I did create something with the snowflakes already, and I was going to show that to you. Let's have a look over here and see if it's waiting. Yes, here it is. Oops. You can't look over there because I've got some projects for design teams that are coming up this week, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. But this is a card that I created with my first real play with the Snowflake Showcase. And if you can see the shine, I made this on glossy white paper, and it is really fun. I'm so glad you're excited, Robin. I'm excited too. I can't wait to meet you and give you biggest hugs. I used a sponge brayer and some of the stamp pads on the glossy white paper, and that's how I got this nice blend. Hello, Philomena. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. Here's a close-up. look at it. Trying to make sure you can see the shine. And now I can take this apart a little bit for you. Although if you do go to my blog, you can see that I took a photo before it was assembled. But I'll peel back part of it for you to see that there is some color underneath. So if you go over to my blog, you can have a look at this card, and it'll show you how I constructed it with the background behind it. This snowflake is amazing, and you can see that this is not a traditional color. This is a berry combination is what I was calling it, was berry colors. And I used rich razzleberry, highland heather, and powder pink to come up with those colors. That's not a typical combination that I would use, but mixed and blended together on the glossy white paper, they worked like a dream. So that large snowflake, which is this die here, is really, really cool. So I made a panel and die cut the panel, and then I die cut a separate piece to go there's 2 snowflakes that are kind of stacked. If you guys have any questions as we go along, then please feel free to ask. If you have a specific question about the card that we are going to create today, it will be very helpful to me if you type the word question all in caps and then write your question, because I can see that really quickly. Otherwise, when you guys put your comments, which I do appreciate, but they roll too fast for me to be able to answer right on the spot. And I like to get your answer now if I can. If not, I'll go back in after and I will answer any questions that you have. So I'm going to transfer everything over here, and then we will get down to business. I'll give you another look at this card here. I'll put it out here for you. I'm going to flip the camera now, so I'll cover this up. So here's a better look at the badges. They were really fun to put together. So I'm still working on some things too. And here's another look at that card. Very shiny with that glossy white paper. So we have really big news we've received as demonstrators. There is a special 24-hour sale coming up on October the 23rd. I can't tell you any details about it because I don't know any details. But this is going to be really exciting to find out what it's going to be. So if you are in need of any kind of supplies, like basic supplies, I'm guessing that could be what it is. Oh, thank you, Sharon. I'm glad. Thank you for letting me know. This is new information. I've just gotten this graphic this morning. I promise I have no idea what's going to be on sale. But on October 23rd, be sure that you check back in because I will have the details for you. And when you shop on October 23rd, be sure to use the October host code. This is the host code here, 92UYKMYV. Sometimes I get these host codes that are really all letters and they almost spell something, and it cracks me up. It's almost like a joke. It's just too funny. And I would like to share the opportunity with you to join my team. When you join my team, you can get early access to promotions like the Snowflake Showcase, or early look at and ordering from the holiday catalog before it comes out. It's active right now, but we get, as a demonstrator, we get early access. And we have more early access coming up soon with the occasions catalog. It doesn't seem possible that we'll already be looking at another new catalog when we're still getting used to and still getting some wonderful items from this holiday catalog. But the year goes by very fast. And as much as I like to have more time with one item, I try to share a very big variety as much as I can with you all, creating with current items. So this is one thing that you can get right now. If you're not a demonstrator, you can put it in your starter kit. If you are a demonstrator, then you can order this now as a pre-order. And there are some beautiful items inside. All of the items that are in the promotion are here on the page. It's 2 stamp sets, this big gigantic die set, the little trinkets, and the white velvet paper. And I tell you, I am in love with that paper. It is so fun. So this is one way that you can get early access. I will have a online class for this. It's going to be in the form of one of the mega tutorial packs. If you purchase either one of these stamp sets, I don't think it's going to come in a die, but if you purchase the stamp sets or the dies in my online store, then I will be happy to share a free tutorial that's just PDFs, no videos, and it will probably have about 30 or 40 different card projects. It's really big, really huge, and you could take those card project ideas and share and use them with other stamp sets as well. But it'll also give you really great information and some inspiration on Snowflake Showcase. So I'm really excited to do that. November 1st is when you can order it, and it'll only be available until the 30th or until supplies run out. And here is a fair warning, this velvet sheet paper, it's going to sell out. I have a very strong feeling that it's going to be hugely popular. So if you like that velvet paper, grab it now. And these are the 2 current catalogs that we're working on with. Here is the annual catalog and the holiday catalog. If you are in need of catalogs and you don't already work with a demonstrator, then please select me as your demonstrator, and I'd love to share catalogs with you. So here we go with a brand new technique and project. I have already die cut a few of these really large snowflakes, and this is called Snowfall Thinlits dies, and this is part of that promotion. And I'm going to be using my silicone craft mat here, and we'll decide which stamp set we're going to stamp with along the way. But the technique is going to be done in 2 ways. We're going to be using shimmer paint. Shimmer paint seems to be the flavor of the month. It comes in a little sack. You do not have to keep it in the sack, but I try to keep it all together so that if I need to get some information about the product, then it's in the bag. Just like a bottle of fingernail polish, there's a ball bearing inside, and you can hear it rattling. It needs a good shake up. I think that's good enough. And here are my really large die cut pieces. But we're not going to be using those dies, or I should say those die cuts. Those are not going to be our main feature of the technique. Instead, I have saved the negative space, and this is 2 different pieces here. One is more narrow than the other, and I've done that intentionally. And I grabbed 4 random colors that were in my pre-cut card base stack. I think I've showed you guys before that I've got a big, kind of like a tray that I keep my card bases in, and I keep some colored cardstock just to kind of audition different things. And so I grabbed a good variety of them in order to test out and see how this technique would work out. So I've also got a sponge, and I'll be using the clean side. This has been cleaned at the kitchen sink, but they stain, and I just want to make sure that I use one of the sides for the shimmer paint that is not going to really transfer any ink. I want to be as careful as I can. So what we can do is first get one of the card bases, and this is real red cardstock. And I'll check to make sure which side looks the best. Sometimes one side does look better than the other, believe it or not. It's odd how that works out. And I'm going to center this piece of paper, which is cut to the same side as the card base, which is an A2, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I can secure this down with some washi tape, if it will help, and I'll do that now. Just grab some washi tape. I keep all the washi tape on my ribbon ladder, so it's not far from me. Of course, you guys have seen my craft room. You know that it's not a very big room either. It's a very small space. So this is going to keep everything secure. Now, there's a few different ways I considered being able to do this technique. And the first one was to just put some shimmer paint down. The second one was some sparkling embossing powder, or I believe it's called the embossing paste, shimmery white embossing paste. Another way would be to take your Versamark stamp pad and just kind of stamp over it and then put some embossing powder, and then you've got a big snowflake, and you've created that with a few different ways to go about it. But today I'm just going to see what the effects are going to be for the embossing paste, or the shimmery white. So I'm going to put it directly onto my sponge. You can see I've got a good little amount here, and I'm going to generously dab it on this red cardstock. I can see already that it is going to really show up nicely. So if I just rub it, then this is kind of the streaky look that I'll get. But if I dab it, then there is a few different things that happen. One of them is that I get a nicer, heavier coat, a better coverage. And I can make sure that I use my finger to push in on the stamp, or on the sponge, I'm sorry, and I can get it down into all of those nooks and crannies. Like the little tip here. And because my mask, or my stencil, you could call this a stencil or a mask, it's a negative space. Because it's secured down with the card base, then it's not going to move. But I'm also being very careful not to try to move it either. I think this looks probably about as even as I can get it. Close this little pot of paint up before I have a disaster. Wouldn't that be awful? And peel it up. Oh, it looks like I spilled it out a little bit. I pushed a little too hard in some areas. But that's okay. It's going to work all right with what our technique is. And I've got some on my fingers too. So the shimmer paint can get a little bit wild and messy. But I hope you can see how shiny it is. But what we're going to do is, once this dries up, we can take this die cut and we can lay it back over, and all of those little shimmery bits are going to show up through all of this here, and it'll keep a red tinge to it. But I want to let this dry up a little bit first. It kind of gives me a little bit of an old vintage look. I really like it. So let's try it on some more colors. While I've got this here in this position, then I'm going to see what it looks like on the green. I'll try to get this as straight as I can. And now that I know that the shimmer paint is going to want to take a mind of its own, let's see, this is the painty side, then I can be much more careful and use it more sparingly. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad you like it. And with the green cardstock, this is Old Olive, I think it actually looks better where you can see more of the cardstock through it. It is really sparkly. That's the thing about shimmer paint, is I don't think the camera can properly capture just how pretty it is. Okay, this is a much lighter coat, so let's see exactly how that came out. We can still see the design here. So it will show up really nicely underneath a snowflake. You'll see that there's a little something extra. Pretty cool. So we have a few more. I'm glad you like it, Cheryl. This is one of the first things that I thought of when I saw this really big snowflake, was the fact that it would be great to use in this way, because there's so many different things we can do with it. Now, something that I want to try here before I get the shimmer paint happening is I'm going to get one of my sponge daubers out that has blue, and I'm just going to grab a blue. I don't care which one it is. This has looks like it's light blue, so it's probably from Balmy Blue. And I'm going to enhance the blue area first, if I've got very much here on this sponge dauber, and it looks like I do not. So I'm going to grab Balmy Blue, which is the color of the cardstock, and just kind of dab on. And I'm being careful not to move this mask or stencil. I'll go around the edges as well. Now that snowflake has a solid center, so I don't have to concentrate so much on having all of the color covered up in the middle of the snowflake. All right, then we'll have a look at this after we add a little bit more of this shimmer paint. Now I'm going to get all the shimmer paint I need right now, because once I touch the Balmy Blue, it will contaminate my little pot of ink. So I'm going to get this just as much as I can get on here now, and just spread it around as evenly as I can. Yeah, I knew it was going to cover this sponge. But that's okay, it's all good. You're right, Cheryl. It can be used all year. Here we go. Now that's a bit of a different look, isn't it? Now we could use this just as it is, or we could pop this snowflake on it. Either way, we've got an interesting background that we can feature one of these images on top of. I've got one more card base, and it's Coastal Cabana. This is definitely not a typical Christmas color, I would imagine. But although this year I seem to be running into a lot of non-traditional colors that I feel like are working together really well. So I'll use this same sponge dauber, but grab Coastal Cabana. So here's a quick comparison as we've gone so far. This is where we have darkened the area first with the tone on tone, and this is just like heavy coating of the shimmer paint. I'm tending to like this one a little bit more, although the sparkle on this one is amazing. So here comes some Coastal Cabana. Sharon is liking the blue one. I do too. I think you guys are going to like this Coastal Cabana one also. I have to say that this holiday season, I am really missing the sweet sugar plum that I used so much of last year. I was really, really in love with that ink pad. It was an in color that has retired. So maybe one day we'll get it back, just like we got back this color here, Coastal Cabana. Sweet Sugar Plum was one of my favorites. So I want to make sure that I'm getting around the edges of the negative, that die, that cut edge of the die. All right. Sharon is also a fan. I know that Sweet Sugar Plum. I wish we could have it back. One day, maybe. All right. So I'll put a glob of it in the middle so that I can go back to it and pick it up. That's an on-the-fly tip. I think the non-traditional colors are really fun because we all have Christmas all over the world. We're not in the same season, and it's great to see different opportunities to use color. All right, this one could be my favorite now. It's going to be a big toss-up, I tell you, for sure. All right, so I'm going to secure this shimmer paint away, and I do have it on my hands, so I want to be careful. And I don't have, let's see what I do have. I do have some water that I can spray on my hands. Okay, that'll help clean me up just a little bit, so that the paint doesn't transfer into all of the cardstocks that I'm using. Hi, Anne Marie. Good morning. Philomena's liking this one the best. It's going to be a hard choice, I tell you. Because this Balmy Blue, the way that the shimmer paint didn't cover up all of the background accents, I'm really liking that. I like them all. I'm going to have a hard time. I can tell you now. Okay, so now I have another one that has the negative space. And this is what I figured would be a great option for, if you've got a stamp that you're going to add to this, it will work out perfectly. However, let's take one of these panels that is cut to the same height as our card base, which is 5.5, but I cut the width to 4 inches. So there's going to be 1/8 of an inch on each side. And see how it changes? So we go from having, I'll get a little space cleared out here. We go from having a lot of color to just a really concentrated focal point of color. And this is something that we could take a strip, a sentiment strip, and just put it across, and it's good just the way it is. This card would be finished with just a sentiment. We could also stamp a sentiment in the middle, put a piece of ribbon around it or something. There's all kinds of things we could do. This blue, Kathy, is Coastal Cabana, and this is Balmy Blue. So let's test and see what this piece would look over here. Not bad. Not bad at all. I do like it with the white a lot more than I do with just having all solid color. And this is one great way to use up colored cardstock for your card bases. I find that I use a lot of white, and I'm happy to use the white, but I find that I've got a tremendous amount of it. I use a lot of white cardstock. You guys can imagine. I buy it like 5 and 6 packs at a time. All right, let's test drive the green, which this is, whenever I was figuring out about this design, I tested it out on the green, and this is where I really liked it the most, was on the green. Because that green just really shows up nicely. And then if we try it on the red, and remember this was no background coloring, this was just solid shimmer paint. And with the red, check out how much of a holiday that it just screams holiday card to me. Gorgeous. Aw, you guys are really liking the white layer too. Hi Fran, how you doing? So if we were to take, let's clear up here. If we were to take this snowflake and add it to this, back into this project, then we could raise it up on dimensionals and have it feature kind of like if we were to send this white panel directly, attach it directly to the card base, this could be raised and we could have it be up away from the card base, and it would definitely make an impact. Or we could just put it back in exactly where it was cut from and be more of an inlay look. I do like the look of it being raised. So this is what it would look like if it were on the red. So let's use the Balmy Blue. That's the one that's my favorite color. And if we were to raise this here, that is just going to be so pretty. Okay, there we go. Now it's liquid glue. And I know you guys know that I'm not a liquid glue fan. However, in this case, I'm going for liquid glue, and there's a reason. There's a method to my madness. And that's because I'm going to need to get this panel in exactly the right place. I'm going to need to probably move it around a little bit until I get it situated just right. I'm using more glue than I typically would because of the intricate cuts that are around that middle area. And it is cut flush with the top and the bottom for a reason. It looks okay in the design, but it really helps me to be able to get it straight. So sometimes there's more than one reason why we do things. And having some kind of a straight edge really helps me out. All right, here we go. I think that's going to work. Now you can see that it's offset just a little bit, but that's all right. It's not going to really affect things. So check it out, guys. This is a really quick but customized card. And then we have our blue card base, and we can take some options with this snowflake too. We could rotate it so that you can really see that blue in the background, or we can just have it go straight over where it is. This gives us a little bit more interest though, kind of taking in and putting it off center. I kind of like that look because this is going to allow the blue to really come back up. So now let's go for a sentiment. We can have something that fits directly in this little area if we like. And Snow is Glistening is the stamp set that we used last week. I think we can go back there again, just because I want to keep this card on a little bit more of the clean and simple side. Then we can use this little tiny stamp that says Joy, and what do you know? It fits perfectly right in the middle. So I will grab a stamp pad. And I want to add basic gray because this is a lot of blue happening, and then I've got the shimmer paint, which kind of brings a little bit of silvery shine, and then this will balance out a lot of that. So I get questions about the block that I like to use for my sentiments, and this is a paper pumpkin block. This is the D size block. And when you are a subscriber to Paper Pumpkin, your very first kit that you receive has one of these blocks in it, and it's very low profile. And I like to use these blocks because they are low profile, and that allows me to see through it a little more easily than if I were to use the really thick blocks. That's why I like to use this block, because it's my eyes are not the best, so I'm able to see. So this is basic gray. And by the way, if you are a demonstrator, you can order these blocks. Customers cannot order them, but demonstrators certainly can. There we go, and it fits just perfectly. It's a beautiful thing, huh? When it works out well like that. Hi, Linda. I'm glad you like this card. It is certainly easy. So we will add some dimensionals now, and I do want to add as much dimension in here as I can to support this single area, because this is what's going to really hold that snowflake in place. So I'm using these little areas on the outside of the dimensionals and cutting into little pieces to try to get as far down into that solid area of the snowflake as I can. And what that's going to do is give me a nice platform so that the rest of the snowflake has no worries. I don't have to worry about those pieces needing to be secure. We're going to have a really good solid base here in the center. Now, as part of this suite, we have the snowflake trinkets, and that would be another option. I'll give you a look at those trinkets here. And they're in a couple of different, there's 2 different designs. Here we go. That gives you a nice look at them. And they have a lot of sparkle. So if we were to choose a different way to feature our sentiment, then we can certainly use one of those snowflake trinkets, because this card is simple enough to where it could carry it off. Looks like I've bent one of those. And we are offsetting this, so we want to try to get it as straight as possible. There we go. Now, if I were going to not have my sentiment here, then this would be a perfect opportunity to add one of those little beauties right in the middle. And here's the other style. Both of them would work. There we go. Pretty, 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 isn't it? And from here, we can add some sequins or pearls. I think pearls in particular would look really nice. Or just leave it as it is. This would be a very quick and customizable card with any color combinations that you can think of. Here's another look at these others, and I probably will take and make these out into card projects. Not today, but And then here's another look at the stencil that we were using. And if we were to flip it over, then you can see this is what it would look like to completely cover versus leaving that 1/4 of an inch smaller to give an 1/8 of an inch on each side. I really like how it allows the color to come through on the other sides. And this is what it would look like as a solid. Fun, lots of fun. Card making is beautiful, as in it's the thought that you were thinking of somebody else to share something that's handmade by you. But I gotta tell you, when it's a fun process along the way, it really just, it enlivens everything. And we are getting all of those creative art ideas moving, and it's easy, keep it elegant. It all works out easily together. Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad you like it. Well, I want to thank you again today for joining me, and I've got all these different other options. I'll be sure to share all of the other options ideas. I will take and finish those out into some other projects. And again, if you want any more information on this, then go over to my blog at jennystampsup.com. And also, I have a new online class that is available. I've just gotten it uploaded, I think yesterday. It's for the First Frost bundle. So you can earn this class for free if you purchase First Frost on my online store. I'm going to flip the camera back over so you guys can see me talking. First, you're going to see the outside of my craft room. There we are. So the online class that I have is First Frost, and it is for 5 different projects, and 4 of them have videos. And so you can earn it for free if you shop in my online store and you purchase that bundle. But if you want to buy the tutorial outright, if you're in another country or you are a demonstrator yourself, then that's cool. You can just purchase it directly from my online store, from my tutorials page on my blog. So that would be the web address, jennyhalldesign.com/tutorials. And I've got a lot of new stuff there as well. So I know you guys really love the classes and the tutorials. Thank you all again so very much for joining me today. I'm glad to share my happy mail and share my kids' projects with you. And I really appreciate that you guys support me. Thank you for the hearts and for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube, then please like my video and hit the subscribe button. And there's a little tiny bell that's there. And if you click that bell, then it lets you be notified whenever I upload new videos. And I upload 3 to 4 new videos every single week. I don't want you to miss out on anything. So don't forget, go over to my tutorials page and check out the new tutorials that I have loaded up. And I will see you guys here again next week, and I hope you have a really great week. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.